Praise be Jesus Christ and Mary Immaculate. Welcome to this 24th Sunday in Ordinary Time. We're going to read from the Gospel of Mark, chapter 8, verses 27 to 35. In today's Gospel, we see Jesus bringing the disciples to a place far away from the usual place where they minister, of unusual influence as well, away from the people and the traditions that so often don't help them because they cloud their understanding. They keep them in the same nationalistic mentality. He takes them to Caesarea Philippi, near the borders of pagan lands, to help them see who he truly is. Here, away from the pressure of this nationalistic ideas and expectations, Jesus takes them and asks them a crucial question. Who do people say that I am? And the answers he gets are varied and confused. Some say John the Baptist, other Elijah, or one other of the prophets. Notice that all of these characters are people that represents the past, that represents the tradition. Even after all that they have witnessed, the miracles, the teachings, the disciples still cling to the old ideas and expectations. They have eyes, but they do not see. They have ears, but they do not hear, because they're clouded with just keeping the tradition. These images of blindness and deafness represents the disciples' resistance to the newness of Jesus' message, the radical inclusion of Jesus' message. And despite witnessing Jesus' miracles, they are still trapped in the expectations of the past. They are looking for a Messiah who will conform to their ideas of power and authority. Then Jesus asks a more direct and personal question. But you, who do you say that I am? And it is Peter who speaks up for the disciples, saying, You are the Christ. However, when Peter says this, he uses the definite article, the Christ. Not Christ, just the Christ, indicating that he still sees in Jesus the traditional Messiah, the one who would come to enforce the law and take over with power. This was a Messiah of power, dominance, and victory, who was going to make Israel great again. But that wasn't the case. This is not who Jesus was or is. He is not that kind of Messiah. Jesus rebukes Peter sharply, showing that his mission is not about earthly power or triumph, but about something much deeper and transformative. Jesus begins to teach them about the Son of Man, a title that emphasizes his mission of suffering, his mission of service, his mission of ultimately giving his life for us. Jesus is a God that does not require life, he gives life. He speaks plainly about how he must suffer and be rejected, not by sinners, but by the very religious authorities who were supposed to know and promote the plan of God. Peter, who can bear this idea, tries to correct Jesus. In his mind, the Messiah and a Messiah who suffers is a contradiction, because the Messiah is supposed to come and save from suffering. Jesus' rebuke to Peter is a strong one. Jesus says, Get behind me, Satan. Why such a harsh response from Jesus? Because, like in the wilderness, it is Satan who tempts Jesus, and Peter is tempting Jesus to take an easier path, one of power and of glory, instead of the path of self-giving love, which is the cross. Jesus makes it clear that his way is not about the power structures of this world, but about losing one's life in order to find it. Then Jesus speaks clearly about the cross for the first time in this gospel. He says, If anyone wants to follow me, let them deny themselves and take up their cross. This was not a call to seek suffering for suffering's sake. God does not want us to be mortified or to suffer for suffering's sake, but a call to embrace the rejection and the loss that often comes when we truly live out the values of God's kingdom. In Jesus' time, carrying the cross meant public shame, total rejection, and losing everything the world values, status, power, and reputation. Jesus is saying that following him means being willing to face this kind of loss for the sake of the gospel. The cross is not something imposed by God, but something that we take up willingly. It is the price of living for others, of standing for truth and love, even when it leads to misunderstanding, rejection, and suffering. Jesus promises that those who lose their life for his sake and for the sake of the gospel will actually find true life. He assures us that this path, though it seems like a loss, leads to the full realization of who we are meant to be. We are also children of God. So what does this mean for us today? It means that following Jesus may sometimes require us to go against the current, to let go of our plans, our ambitions, and our dreams, and to trust in the way of the cross. It's about living for something greater than ourselves, even when it means facing misunderstanding or rejection. I'll leave you with this question to ponder this week. Are we willing to let go of our own expectations of Jesus and embrace the path of the cross? How might God be calling us to take up our cross and follow Jesus more closely in our lives today? God bless you.